What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the latest episode of the NLB Pod. I'm your host, Dr. Fairbank Terry Jr. And we're coming at you live with another episode. And this one, it's an interesting one. It's something I've been thinking about a lot more. If I could go back to my younger days, what would I change? Are there things that I would change about how I grew up as a basketball player, and are there things that I would maybe focus on more or focus on less? And on this episode, I got five things that I would tell my younger self to become a better basketball player. So I think just now looking at being able to look back on how things have gone and how I feel like I have gotten better as a player as I've gotten older. I think that's if I could have learned some of these things early on, then I think it would have expedited my growth and potential a lot more. So without further ado, let's dive into it. I think number one would be to play more. Play more. Think I spend a lot of time early on just outside by myself and working on things. I'd watch, you know, Steph, or I'd watch like Steve Nash, I'd watch Chris Paul do things, and then I go outside and do it. And I think I had a lot of stuff that I could do, but it's always one thing to do it by yourself against air. I think it's important to do things on air to get a feel for it, but I also think you have to be able to go try things against live competition, against defense to be able to see what works and what doesn't work. And I think I spent a lot of time playing against air and doing a lot of like repetition, like the same repetition, shooting the same shot over and over and over and over again, and getting really good at those shots. But in the game, when people are running at you and there's a lot of chaos and a lot of randomness, I was not prepared, at least in high school, I was not prepared for all the like all the variables that were coming my way. My ability to distance whether I could get a shot off, my ability to recognize where space was, my ability to react quickly to how someone was playing me off the ball and when to back cut or when to get into their body and get open to get the ball, how to recognize areas on the court where I don't have a lot of options to move through. Very slow with all that stuff. And I think it just came down to how I was preparing beforehand. I think as a younger person, you should be trying as many movements, as many skills as you can get. Develop a big bag because the more versatility you have, the more options you have. The more options you have, the more dangerous you are. So I think you develop that by being able to play more, seeing what works, and playing against people that are better than you, seeing how people are getting buckets, see how people are getting stops, and trying to take that and emulate that to put that into your game, to build, to work on building, becoming the player that you're supposed to be, and the player that you see yourself being. But I think we limit ourselves by just trying to work on shooting 500, getting 500 makes, um, doing the same move over and over again. And I think there's a time and place for that. Don't get me wrong. Don't get it twisted. I think there's a time and place for working on, the same footwork or the same move and getting comfortable with that. But then you also got to have counters and you got to be able to play off at the different positions or different catches or any situations like that. So I think that's number one, playing against people that are better, playing against people that are better and pe playing and paying attention to what they do well and making sure you go out there and just give it your all. You're not afraid to mess up. You're not afraid to turn the ball over, but it's all a learning opportunity because down the line, that experience of playing people who are better than you, maybe more aggressive, will help you when you go back to your regular team practices or in the games when you're going against maybe people not at that same level, and you can use that experience that you've had in the past to help dictate how you're going to adapt to the person in front of you or the team in front of you. So that's number one. Number two, be a better mover. I think this is something I took for granted. It was just not just relying on the ability to move how I want to, but I wasn't really going into different like lateral movements, sideways movements, rotational movements, being able to get in and out of deeper positions, shallow positions, being able to have, like I said, options earlier, being able to have options as a mover is just going to allow me to be able to express a lot of different movements, a lot of different capabilities when I'm in a game. And the more unpredictable I am, the harder I am to guard. You watch like LaMelo Ball, you watch like Jamal Crawford, people who are really shifty, who are able to move really well, can do a lot of great things with the basketball. Savion Lee, Flage. If you watch how they move, how they are able to get into and out of a lot of tough positions. That makes it so hard as a defender to be able to guard them because they do a lot of herky jerky, Kyrie, a lot of herky jerky, weird stuff that you don't normally get into. You're used to like little curves, or they might come at a different angle and then reverse and go the other way. But it's because they're able to get into different positions and then get out of it. So that's looking at their ankle mobility and strength. It's looking at their knee health, it's looking at their ability their hips to get in and out of rotation, their trunk ability to be forward, be upright, maybe even lean at an angle to get into somebody's shoulder. But being strong and being able to get into all those positions just helps your movement library and helps you be a more prolific mover, prolific person on the court because you have unlimited options because you have a deep bag. If you have a deep bag of skills, you have a deep bag of movement options, which is also going to decrease your injury risk and keep you healthy and keep you on the court. So being able to move efficiently, move effectively is, I think, a game changer that I didn't really take into account. I was really good at the like straight up and down stuff. I could get up and down, but some of the rotational or lateral stuff, I was not as proficient at. And as I started learning how to get in and out of my hips a little more, staying strong through my core and being able to get into different positions because of one leg strengthening or being on going side to side more, it just opens up a lot more movements when I'm off the dribble or uh on the catch. And like if I get into a weird position, it's not scary because I've already exposed myself to it before. So that's number two. Be a better mover. Number one, play more with people who are better than you, a lot better than you. Number three, get strong. Yeah, get strong. Building a good foundation to strength and being able to add strength to those options is just going to help you, one, get to your spots, two, stop your offense, and when you're on defense, stopping the offensive player from getting to their spots. And to me, that's all I think about. Like I'm not gonna have you like I think you gotta be strong enough. Like you don't gotta be moving crazy weights, but there's certain benchmarks or things that I think you should be able to maintain and know that you're able to hold your own on the court. Whether it's a certain speed that you can move a weight at, whether it's an output, jumping output, just ways that we have ways to quantify how you're getting stronger, if you're getting stronger, and why it's beneficial. It's like if you're stronger and able to play defense and not allow a person to get in front of you or get to their spot and bully you, then you will be able to stay on the court because you're not a liability, even if you're smaller. But if you got a lower center of mass and you're stronger in those low positions, then you can not get abused in the post if they switch. If you're on the perimeter, you can anticipate and slide your feet to get to spots before a ball handler. And a lot of ball handlers now, if you take away one move, they don't have a counter. So if you take away their first option, they're either gonna put their head down, keep going, and you could draw offensive foul, or they pick up their dribble, you crowd their space, and now you cause disarray. You've caused chaos. And now a lot of people don't function well in chaos. So once you kind of figure out how to beat people to their spots and hold your own in your spots, then I think it opens up a whole different world for you. A lot of people can score, but if you can get a stop or slow somebody down, then that's what's going to keep you on the court. But if you score 40, but the person you're guarding goes 50, then you're at a trending negative in terms of the output. And I think even just understanding where your teammates are and where your help's coming from is wonderful. Is gonna help you as a defender even more. But just being able to hold your own, being strong, get into your spots and stopping your opponent from getting to their spots is going to be game changer. And that happens with building that long strength over time. Strength is not something that's going to be built quickly. It's gonna take time. It's gonna take time. If you watch film on like Steph Curry when he first came into the league, looking kind of skinny, kind of frail, but they had a long-term plan for him. He put on mass over time, and now dude is built. Dude is built. Dude is conditioned well, but he didn't do it too fast. He didn't do it the wrong way. He took his time. They had a plan, and now he's able to hold his own, probably move a lot more efficiently because he's more efficient with his patterns and he can get in and out of different positions. So that's number three, get strong. Number four, watch more film. I used to watch film on Steph on just how to shoot on his shooting mechanics because I used to shoot like Derek Fisher and have the ball behind my head, and which is a very like it would go in, but it wasn't the most efficient shot. And I was watching how Steph would go against taller defenders and how he get his shot off, how he create space, and I figured out just trying to get the ball in front and release it all from in front of me would be a little more of an efficient pathway for me. So I spent a whole summer just watching Steph film, watching where he sets the ball, how he catches it, how he releases it, where his elbow is after he follows through, all that kind of stuff, and made a transformation in my shot. But I was also would watch like how he came off screens, how he kind of separate off, what kind of things how he would use his off arms to create space off pin downs and when get defender off to get a sliver of space to get his shot off. But I think also I could have just been a little more efficient at just watching like just pick and rolls and looking at what are the reads that as the ball handler you gotta make. Like when do you split? What kind of things are you looking for when to split? When do you take the long route across? When do you snake the screen? When do you reject the screen? I think just could have been a little more intentional about watching film and seeing how, depending on how defenses are presenting, what kind of options do you use to get in and out of different positions, and then like understanding spacing of where your teammates are going to be at. Like if they're, excuse me, like if my teammates are going to be like knowing where they're going to be spaced out on the floor, is the screen coming from the middle of the court or is it coming from the side where it's maybe I got someone in the corner on the same side corner, and if the screen's coming onto my left side, taking me towards the middle, what's the spacing looking like on the other side? Is there a time for a 45 cut from the wing to the bucket, and I can find space there to get my teammate the ball, or maybe it's a they want to come trap the ball screen, and then I gotta get it to the middle, or I gotta get it to the weak side corner. I think just seeing how um, defenses are playing myself in games and what they're trying to force me to do, and being able to have counters to that is something I should have taken advantage of more often, of just getting our game film and just watching how teams are playing me so I can prepare more efficiently and more diligently to be prepared for the scouting report and then take off and figure out some tendencies, figure out some patterns on a defensive end to disrupt things, and then also on offense to be more efficient and get people in the right places and figure out how to attack the weak links. I should have been, especially at that time, we had more started recording games and having access to games, and should have been a little more proactive in getting that film to be able to figure out how I can be better and how our team can be better. And I think that leads into number five of what I would how I would get better at basketball now is just asking my coaches what they see when they have a vantage point of when they're watching the game unfold from the sidelines, but also when they are like watching film on the other side on the at the end of games or the next day, what they're seeing on the film to figure out how I can be better to help the team. I think we forget that our coaches are there to help us and help us develop as players, as people, and they can utilize, they see us every day, 2 hours, 3 hours at a time. And over the course of a 5 months, 6 month, half a year, over the course of 4 years, that's a lot of time that they get to know you, to know who you are, what your goals are. And I should have been more proactive in the approach, even in college too, like with what they wanted, what they are looking for, and being able to what they see and how can I help the team get better. That's something I started to learn towards the end of my college career, but it might have been a little too late at that point. But just trying to get a feel for this whole new game, and then all of a sudden things start to slow down. You're like, all right, let me see what coaches are seeing and how I can help the team even more. But now it's like now as an adult, it's like I don't necessarily have coaches, but I do have mentors that I look up to that I can learn from that are like in the trenches right now that are teaching basketball at a high level and now trying to utilize them to ask questions about how they organize things, how they run things, and now trying to just learn as much as I can about X's and O's, about skill development, about rehab and the training side, and trying to bring it all together into the NLB platform. So that's how what those are the five things that I would tell my younger self about how I would get better at basketball. I think if you map this out over the course of a 4 year period, you will be leaps and bounds better. If you just do these five things, you will be leaps and bounds better than how you started today. And the cool thing is you don't have to wait till the off season. You don't have to wait till the end of the year or January 1 to get started. You can start right now by watching more of your game film. Watch more of your game film. Have your mom or dad record it if you don't have anyone recording it, but nowadays everyone's recording stuff. So get more of your game film, see how people are attacking you or are attacking your team, and see how what patterns you recognize and see how you can exploit those patterns and find the mismatches or find where you guys have an advantage or how you can create an advantage. Excuse me. And that will just right there, as you get ready for playoffs and the off season and the like playoff seasons and AAU, that right there will help take you very, very far. And then building a plan to be a better mover, getting strong, that's gonna take some time, but you can always get out and play, go find runs and go play. Go play, go have fun, don't be afraid of messing up, see what you can do, and then figure out, all right, from that experience playing against these high level hoopers, what do I need to improve on? What are they doing well that I can take right now to help me the next time I see them? And just always trying to just see where you're at, what you're doing well, what could be improved, and then just slowly building it over time. And over the course of your 4 years of high school, your 4 years of college, you'll transform to a better person, better athlete, better basketball player because you've started early and taken the time to really just invest into yourself, into your future. So those are the five things I would say to get better at basketball right now. And one last thing, I would get away from shooting, make 500 makes. Challenge yourself in your practices, challenge yourself as a shot creator, as a decision maker, put yourself in a lot of different situations to be able to handle a lot of the chaos that's going to arise in the game. With that note, catch you on the next one. Peace.